What's going on, everybody? We are back for some Europe recap of Week 3. Going into Week 4, we'll do some predictions as well. If you haven't seen these yet, well, we show all the goals from Europe. We don't show every single goal because these videos are longer than that. But we try and, bounce around and show some goals in the background. It's mostly just background noise. So if you guys want to look at something, feel free. It's a great way to catch up on the action in case you missed it. It's on Rocket League Esports YouTube, so go check it out. Let's get into it. Europe. We kind of talked about this a little bit on the show. Kind of sluggish, I feel like, this week. It wasn't that pretty. Like, I remember joking around after, I think it was match 3. I was joking around with the guys, the casters. I was like, hey, guys, it's been kind of slow. And we haven't even seen Veloce or TSM yet. Which is like, TSM you expect to be slow, or at least I do. Veloce is one of those sloppy games normally. So we were like, oh boy, this might be a rough day. But Veloce picked it up. But I'll get to that point at some point here. So let's first start off with Dig versus Singularity. We see some of the goals here. Singularity came back down to earth a little bit this week. A lot of mistakes that were countered by good teams. Pretty simple. Dignitas, strong. Yukio is strong. He's been playing well, which is always good to see. Violent Panda doing a lot for the team again this week with 3 goals and 3 assists, participating 85%. And this week, Astral didn't really do a whole lot. 0 goals, 9 shots, 3 assists. He didn't have to. He had Violent Panda and Yukio to do it for him. That was one of those shots right there. But SG kind of just came back to life a little bit. We thought, though, might be able to challenge Dig a little bit and see if that would work, but it really didn't. They kind of caught him out, and when they did catch him out, it was just easy goals, easy pick'ems, kind of like that. Another double commit there. A lot of double commits for Singularity throughout this game. Dignitas gets a pretty good win for a team that's potentially the best in Europe. Not a bad way to go out. You get your first game of the day, and you're done for the day. Next up, the big one for the bottom side of the bracket, Endpoint versus Monaco. Endpoint had a pretty bad record against Monaco, 2-7 last season in the rival series in terms of games, but they come in strong, get 3 wins. Monaco has no offense right now. Lately we were like, all right, it's extra. He's the one who's going to do the offense, and that's about it, but he didn't do anything this game. 0 goals, 0 assists, 5 shots. But Monaco as a whole, 5 shots, and 4 shots. 14 shots in 3 games is not going to get you a lot of wins. Monaco has to find some offense somewhere. Endpoint on the other side, 8 shots across the board. They were very even across the board, which is what you expect from Endpoint. All 3 players get involved in the offensive side. There was a lot of plays where all 3 went down the field and just kept following up on every single rebound. But that's what you expect at Endpoint that we haven't seen in a little while. Big win for them. Big sweep as well for game differential purposes. So well done to those boys. It was the first week where they really woke up, which was nice to see. But not that exciting overall. We're actually going to move forward here a little bit. Go like to 15. Probably 15 is probably a little too far. We'll go 10 minutes for now, and then we'll keep going in a little bit. Next match, Mouse for Singularity. Kind of the same story for Singularity. I did feel like Mouse, though, was a little bit more sluggish compared to Dig. Sure, it's still the same 3-1 result. Speed it has been playing off for a while now. I feel like his defense, he made multiple mistakes. His offense, even, there was one shot where we were like, what are you doing? It was like the softest thing in the world. He's got to pick that up. I think Cook's here. We put him on the player of the day board. I probably would have put Scrub, personally, but I kind of got ruled out because I thought Scrub did a little bit more to create the offense for Cook's to score. Speed also did that once in a while as well. Cook's here just kind of cleaned up. He cleaned up, and he cleaned up well, so that's all he needed to do. The one thing that I wonder for Mouse is, will Cooks here ever try and lead the charge? It's going to be hard when you have Scrub and Speed on your team, but in years past, when Flipside was bad back in those days, Cooks here would move up and become the golden striker. I don't know if you really can do that with Scrub and Speed, but if they continue to play a little sluggish, maybe that happens at some point, but I doubt it. We'll see how that continues. I assume Cooks would just play back and then try and clean up most things that Scrub gives them, and they just had to hope that Speed plays a little bit better, and I think they'll be fine. But S&G, kind of the same story. They looked like what we thought they would be when we started the season, and they got their one big win out of Vitality, but now the rest of the road's easier, but it's still not the easiest. And I think it's going to be fun watching them these next few weeks to see, was it inconsistently good, or were these weeks, or was this week an inconsistently bad week? I guess we'll find out. Next up, Vitality TSM. So I kind of went hard in on TSM. Don't really like what's going on here. Even when they played Dig, when people were pumping them up, like they had some nice goals. Like Rumco right here, it was a nice goal by him. But for the most part, the problem is, like, they had highlight reel goals in week 1 too. And that's great to see. The problem is when you're only putting 5 shots in a game, that's a major, major problem. You're not going to win a lot of games when you only have 5 shots per game. They're dead last in the league in shots per game. And you're not going to beat Vitality that way. So on the other side, Vitality put up, 35 shots in, how many games was this? 4? So whatever math that is, a little over 8. Much, much better. 8.75. Yeah, Vitality, like, I need to see more offense from them. I just haven't seen it. Metsonaris and Magnus, I said during the show, they averaged 41 boosts for the entire series. Like, that's how much boost they had on them through the games. That would be dead last in the league if that was, like, their only series. I think they're pretty close to near the bottom anyway, but it would have been dead last. So that's not a good sign. If you don't have a lot of boosts, you can't do a lot. And that's a lot of the problems with TSM. But Vitality looked good. Alpha looked incredibly good this week. I could have definitely got a Player of the Day nominee as well. But Alpha, this was the first week where we're like, all right, Vitality, when Alpha's looking good, you guys are scary. Very, very good week for Vitality. Moving on. Veloce versus Reciprocity. Like, this might be my favorite series Veloci's ever played. I just felt like their challenge game was on point. Most of the times, I think, like, teams just lose to Veloce rather than Veloce win the series. But I did feel like Veloce played incredibly well throughout the series. Really good challenges. Didn't really give space at all to Reciprocity. And, like, won almost all these challenges. Now, the shots per game, again, relatively low, but they kept it pretty low on the other side by Reciprocity. It's like 6 to 7.6. So it's not terrible, but it could be better. Cassio, again, though, he's the only one, like, inventing offense on this team. My one concern with Cassio, mostly from week 1. Week 1, he averaged 35 boosts. And that's one of the stats I've been looking at a lot of, like, what their average boost is, like we talked about with Mets and Magnus, just to see, like, what can these guys do with limited boost. You don't want to be that low on average. 35 was incredibly low. He picked it up last week, picked it up again this week. He is creating the offense right now for Veloce, but at least someone is, because I feel like they haven't had that a lot, having someone create some offense. He gets Player of the Day, had a really good series, 4 goals, 2 assists, even 11 saves. Led the team in that as well. So he led across the board for his team. 85% goal participation, shot 44%. So well done by him. Definitely well deserved. And this was just a great series by Veloce. I really enjoyed it. And we'll see if they can continue that. That's the problem. When they played TSM, it was boring, and they didn't really do a lot. Cassio did a couple good plays, but we'll see. I'm not completely sold on Veloce like James Watt is. If you missed the podcast, the Half Flip podcast, check it out. It's on my YouTube from yesterday. We do it every Tuesday at 3. But yeah, it was a very good series. My favorite series from them. I want to see it again. Simple as that. Next up, Vitality versus Barca. So this was the trendy pick, I called it, last week, where people were going to pick Barca because Vitality lost the previous week. Barca's looking pretty good. Barca had a little bit of a weaker schedule going in, though. And also, I think people forgot that Vitality played TSM before, which is always going to help your confidence, playing TSM. Sorry, I'm a little harsh on TSM, but Vitality comes in pretty hot. Barca played really well, really, really well in this series. Definitely the most entertaining series of the weekend for Europe. Veloce and Rec would have been the other one. So it was right after we said, oh, these games are looking kind of slow and not great. The last 2 series were at least really, really good. Vitality gets that 3-1 win. Alpha, again, doing a lot of work, which is good to see. Fairy Peak getting a ton of work. 5 goals, 1 assist, which was great to see, too, because he had a really bad shooting week last week. So great bounce back week for Vitality. Plus, it was their only 2-game week, and they go 2-0. That's what you want out of your 2-match week. Go 2-0, and now they're right back in the run-in for first place. The only team they're behind is Dignitas. So well done to them. Vitality's looking great for this week at the very least, but this is what you expect. They'll have some inconsistent weeks, but when they're on point, they're going to be a very, very scary team. And they're definitely very, very scary here. K-Dap didn't have to do as much. He only scored 1 goal in the entire weekend after he had the Golden Striker by a ton. He was at 1.22 goals per game coming into this. For instance, that would have been a record, I think, since like season 2 or something, or season 1 maybe. But he obviously dropped down a lot after that. But he got tons of assists. I think he had 9 assists on the day. So well done to him to continue to create offense, even if he's not scoring all the goals. But Vitality, again, just kind of outshot the other team, Barca, by a decent margin. That's something good for Vitality. Last season, they were getting tons of shots on their net. They had really good defense to back it up. And I figured if that continued with Alpha, that would be a problem. But if they just don't get, a lot of shots on their net compared to last season, then they'll be just fine. That's kind of what happened here. So there was a lot of shots, but it was not as much as they put up. Like, they put up nearly 12 shots per game, which is nuts. Whenever you put up like 11 plus shots, you're winning a lot of those series. And then Barca put up near 8 shots per game. So there you have it. The recap for Europe. I thought Europe, overall, not the greatest. Vitality looked good. Veloce. Rec didn't look great, but they didn't look like terrible. It did feel like Veloce was just kind of shutting them down. And then Barca, I thought, also looked good. Besides that, though, like Dig, sure. Like, I think Dig was fine. Like, Dig was one of those where it's like, all right, they won. We figured. Mouse was the only one who was like, not great. And Endpoint, it's a wait-and-see approach. I think Endpoint is still one of those bottom teams, even though they took down Monaco in a big, big series. But with that, we got to go over to our predictions for the following week. Got some big games coming up. All the games are big, but started off with Veloce versus Singularity. So this is where Singularity, now you're playing lower teams, or at least supposed lower teams. We'll see how they fare. I don't like Team Singularity here. I think Veloce is hitting a good stride right now. I don't think Singularity, I think they were a one-hit wonder beating Vitality. I don't think they're that strong. So I'm going to go Veloce 3-1 there. Next up, Vitality, Monaco. This has no chance. I feel like Monaco cannot create offense right now. They have a 2-game week, so it's a very important week for them, but there's no offense on this team at all. And their defense, they keep making mistakes. Like, Tigre's making a lot of mistakes. I think Tigre's having a terrible season. He needs to pick up the pace for this team to do anything. Ignite's having a bad shooting season. So, Monaco in deep, deep trouble right now. And a very important game coming up versus TSM, especially if they lose to Vitality. Next up, you got Veloce versus Endpoint. So this is their 2-game week as well. They play 2 of the rival series teams. It's a great chance for Veloce to really cement themselves into the playoff race. This feels like a make or break week for Veloce. If they go 2, not necessarily out of the playoff race, but not looking great. If they go 2-0, they'll be, pretty solid, because let's not forget that there's still Monaco and TSM below those two. So Veloce will seal up basically top 6 unless, they completely fall apart towards the end of the season. But I think Veloce will do it here. We'll go a 3-1 over Endpoint. Because Endpoint, sure, they played okay, but they played Monaco. I'm not sold on them just yet. But if there was an upset, out of all these picks, I think Endpoint over Veloce would be it. Just because if that offense does start clicking, then maybe. Reciprocity, Barcelona. I'm going Rec here. I know Barca's been looking good, and Rec kind of had a slow start here. But Barca's still relatively weak schedule. They did play really well versus Vitality, but they still lost, right, at the end of the day. I think Rec is better than Barca still. I don't know by how much, but I think they will turn it around. And we still haven't seen Chaussette really just win a series on his own. And we're bound to have 2 of those this season. Maybe this is one of them. But we'll go Rec 3-2, because I think it is a close series, but I think Rec will take it. Next up, TSM Monaco. As much as I hate TSM, it's because I love them, at least. Monaco, I don't talk about because they just are not great right now. Monaco, TSM will win 3-1. If you guys need to take a nap, this would be the series to do. I kid. It's a very important series for 10th place for the auto relegation spot. So definitely check it out. Because whoever loses this is in that driver's seat for the 10th spot. No one wants to be there. But I think TSM will pull it out. They've had some good solo play potential. The only one on Monaco that can do that is Extra. But honestly, it's going to come down to who can actually create offense. And I believe TSM can create more offense than Monaco, but we'll see. Dig versus Mouse, the game of the week. Dig is looking really strong. Mouse has looked really bad. Not really bad, I shouldn't say, but not great. They're still getting the wins, which is important, except when they played Rec. But I think this is a statement game. I think this is the game where you hit the panic button for Mouse, and this is the game where Dig's like, we are top 2. There is no doubt about it. We are top 2. And I think he comes here. I think a 3-0 for Dig, just for the statement game itself. Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got here, guys, for the predictions. Again, we'll be live this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for the RLCS. Definitely check it out. Once again, I'm going to just promote our new podcast. Me and James are doing the Half Flip podcast. Go check that out. It should have been released as of yesterday when this is public. So go check it out. It's a lot of fun. We talk about the Intel World Open and all that stuff in there. So if you're looking for a video for that, that's where that is. Yeah, it's going to do it. I have the hiccups, so I'm going to go. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.